Good morning and happy Thanksgiving. It's Donny, Coram, your foreclosure deals coach. And I know it's Thanksgiving. I'm not expecting a ton of turnout today, but that's okay. A lot of cool stuff is happening in the real estate market right now that I want to make sure that I make you guys aware of in real time as it's happening. Right out of the gate, on this show, we discuss how to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal right here in the Colorado Springs marketplace. I currently have 27 clients right here in the local marketplace who are actively looking for deals. So we are constantly tracking what's happening in the foreclosure market. It's a holiday, obviously not a ton of activity today. I hope you're enjoying your time with your family today. I'm certainly going to be heading over to my mom's place here in a little bit to enjoy some turkey and fixins and all that stuff. But we got to get the work done first. So I appreciate you guys taking time out of your busy Thanksgiving day to spend just a few minutes with me today to discuss that. Let's dive right into it. We already know that the foreclosure market is largely driven by what? Interest rates, right? If you have high interest rates, you got a bunch of people who are going on the market and who are unable to sell as a result of a higher interest rate. It's actually pretty simple math. A year ago, the buying power of the buyer was much higher than it is right now. Well, in the last week or so, if you've been tracking the interest rate market, or if you're a friend with a mortgage broker, you've definitely heard by now that there's been some significant reductions in the interest rate. What is driving that? Well, guys, my opinion on that, we all have opinions, and you've heard the saying on that, but here's what's happening in my opinion. We're heading into 2024. We're just 6 weeks away from the end of the year, 5 weeks away from the end of the year, okay? And as you head into 2024, you got to see what's happening in the political climate. In this case, we are heading into an election year with Joe Biden, and regardless of your opinion of Biden, the Democratic camp right now knows that they have to head into the new year with a much stronger real estate market than what we've had in the past year and a half to 2 years, okay? They don't want to enter an election season with people losing their homes to foreclosure. So one of the things they did out of the gate, and this is at the rumor mill stage right now, but I'm relatively certain it's going to pass, is there's currently a proposed moratorium on foreclosures for VA loans. Okay, that's going to start a cycle, which is going to mean that people who should be foreclosed upon are not going to get foreclosed upon during this time frame. I can promise you this: if there's a VA moratorium, the FHA will follow suit pretty much right after that, and then you're going to see just an overall stopping in foreclosures again. Why? Because there's no foreclosures? Absolutely not. Let's face facts here, okay? Interest rates are higher. Unemployment is higher right now. People are starting to look for work. One of the things that we're tracking constantly in the market is how many contractors are out there looking for work. When things were super busy, it was call after call after call to potentially get a contractor on the phone to get them to do the work. I can tell you in the last few weeks, that's gone exactly the other direction. I'm getting constant calls from people looking for work. Now, this is actually very cool because I like to see people who are entrepreneurial and enterprising and want to get out there and get their butts to work. So that's great. We're also going to get better pricing on the labor because we have more competition in that space. But most importantly, with the builders slowing down because interest rates are higher, people are now going to be hunting for work. If you have high unemployment and high interest rates, you have people unable to pay their mortgage and unable to sell their house in one fell swoop. This is bad news bears, guys. This is bad news for people in the overall landscape of the foreclosure market. So what is the government to do to avoid a housing crisis during election season? They're going to drop interest rates. And I think we're going to see some substantial drops. When I say substantial, obviously we're trading in the 7s to 8s right now. So if we get down to the mid 6s, 6.5% interest rate, we could consider that a win right now. And everybody in real estate would agree that that would have a substantial impact on the buying power and just the general attitude of the buyers who are left in the market today. What does this mean to you? Well, let me tell you this. If you're thinking about getting into foreclosure investing, you're going to want to find a deal right now and start doing the work on that property in the winter months, because I think that by the time we get into February, March, right around the springtime. And keep in mind, if you bought a property today, we generally budget for 90 to 120 days of total ownership. Here's where that math comes from, okay? 30 days is generally what it takes minimum to get the property fixed. So if you closed on it today, you've got 30 days of repairs that you got to figure you're doing. And because things are moving a little bit slower, we're actually budgeting for closer to 4 to 6 weeks of repairs out of the gate. Okay. So 4 to 6 weeks you're in repair. Now you've got time on market. You list the property for sale. It doesn't sell the day of anymore. We don't have multiple bidding wars hitting the market. We could, if rates dropped low enough, okay, because there's still a demand for homes that's being stifled right now by the fact that interest rates are so high. But the prediction is that you're going to be on the market for the average days on market, which right now in the entry-level price point is roughly 30 days. Actually, a little less than that. It's 22 to 24 days, but we're going to round that up to 30 days on the market we can expect when you list the property. Finally, we go into underwriting with the property. The person buying the house has to go through their loan process. That's another 30 days or so. So if everything is going well, you're going to own the property for a total of 90 days. We budget for 120 days or 4 months of ownership, total ownership. So if you're buying a house right now and you close in December, we've got deals right now that could be closed in December. Okay. If you do a deal now, you're going to be in construction for 30 days during the winter, hitting the market in January, maybe February timeframe, going under contract somewhere in February or March, and making your money by the end of first quarter. In my program, I teach you how to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal with a minimum profit from the engagement of $25,000. Now, I'm certainly hoping that we find one deal that makes you 25 grand, but the upside of my coaching program is I'm here to build a relationship with my clients and get them to a spot where they can do 4 deals a year consistently with predictable profit. Just imagine for a moment, if you were in this coaching program and you're doing 4 deals per year, and those deals are bringing you in $25,000 average profit per deal for a total of $100,000 a year. What would that feel like? How would that change the life that you're leaving right now? What would you do with your current day job? Would you kick that to the curb and do something different? Everybody I meet, guys, wants to transition into a real estate investment position. I've literally not met anybody who didn't want to do what I'm doing, right? Hey, thanks for being here, William. Always great to see you. You know, I hope it doesn't either about the moratorium. William mentioned, hope the 6-month moratorium does not transition to all foreclosures. I hope it doesn't, but you gotta, you know right away, Bill, that if one round of it does it, if somebody goes in and says, hey, we're gonna do VA, somebody else is gonna say, well, it's not fair if we don't also affect FHA. So I think it's inevitable. What are your thoughts on that? Don't you think they're likely to hop in and make other people do the moratorium? A moratorium on foreclosures is not good news for us as investors overall because it provides less opportunity, but it is going to artificially prop up the market for a little bit longer, which is kind of their objective, no? Like, aren't they really looking to make sure that the market looks good? Right? So I appreciate your comment on that, Bill. Would love to hear more from you. Thanks for tuning in on Thanksgiving of all things. I really appreciate it, man, and to all of you as well. So getting back into it, with my program, I'm helping you to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a deal. If you hop in right now, okay, you get involved in foreclosure investing right now, you're going to be doing your first deal by the end of February. Okay, we've got funding available, we've got deals available. Now we've got construction resources. Okay, if they artificially inflate the market and they drop interest rates at the same time, I'm not saying we're heading back in a bidding war, but I am telling you with some degree of certainty that we are absolutely going to do more deals in a propped up market, because that's kind of the idea. Happy Thanksgiving to you as well. I am looking forward to doing a deal. Please message me, let me know. I can't wait to get our deal done together. All right, guys, so that's what's happening. And I do want to show you just a couple of things. Like, one of my favorite places to find a foreclosure deal are HUD repos. Now, for those who don't know, HUD repos are FHA foreclosures gone, basically FHA loans gone bad. If you know about what the FHA is, the Federal Housing Association, your first inkling would be that it's a lender, right? Because it's often tied to lending. The truth of the matter is FHA is an insurance company for lenders. So when you get an FHA loan with a reduced down payment, right, generally 3.5% down, you are also, the government's insuring that loan against loss. So they give a better rate. They now have mortgage insurance, so it doesn't appear like a better rate a lot of times, but there's a lot of benefits to going that route. So if we take a quick look at the FHA, the HUD foreclosure site, which has been very lean in inventory for the past, I'd say going on 2 years. Like I used to check, I still check this pretty much every day, but in 2 years, you haven't seen very much activity. Let's hop in here, okay? And we showed this last time on the show, but one thing that HUD does is they list the property at a price that's generally about 10% below what they believe market to be. Why? Because they're motivated sellers, okay? In this business, we're not looking to deal with just people who want to sell. We're also looking to deal with people who are motivated to sell. Why? Because you have to find a deal. We're not buying a house in this setup. We're buying a deal, okay? After the property goes on the market for a while, they start dropping the price. These two have not been listed for quite long enough. Here, one on Yazoo Drive. That is still such a cool street name. I'd love to say I live on Yazoo. That's so cool. Then you got Bradley Street, but the one I want to point out today is on Lehigh. Now, I shot a video on this property when it was priced at about $315. And if you watched the last show, it was priced at $315. Well, it sat and sat and sat, and now HUD, in their desperation to get rid of this property before the end of the year, has dropped the list price down to $284,000. Does that make it a good deal? Well, I think so, but we need to verify that with you. Part of what we're doing in the coaching program is doing an analysis that confirms whether or not you're actually buying a deal in this marketplace right now. Because the market is moving, you have to use current market data to determine the value of the property. So hang on with me a little bit. Remember, the property is on 3607 Lehigh Street, okay? So 3607 Lehigh Street. Let's head out to Deal Check, my favorite deal analysis tool. And I need you to remember that though HUD lists as a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, it is actually a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 3/4 bath, because it has a bathroom in the basement. Okay. So we pop into Deal Check here, my favorite deal analysis program. We real quickly do an analysis on the property. The first step is we import the property data. So Deal Check allows us to hop in here, find the property, do a quick search to bring up the data. As I just mentioned, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath with 1,826 square feet. And what's funny about Deal Check is, in this case, not always, but it's actually more accurate than the HUD listing. Okay, give that some thought. The seller of the property, the federal government who's listing this property, has less accurate data on this property than the deal analysis tools that we're using. This is a market advantage, guys, because we've got access to more current, better data. We can make better trading decisions on our properties, and that results in us making more money because we are seeing things that the government is not seeing. Now, Deal Check runs its quick assessment of what the value is, but that's very much an as-is value, okay? What we want to see is, if we fixed it up, what would this property go for? So in order to make that work, okay, we need to go in here. So we're going to save the property and start our analysis. Step 1 is a sales comp analysis. What is the property worth in today's market? And to get that answer, what it does, it goes out around the property and it finds listings that are similar in square footage and are basically close by to our property. Now, I'm eliminating the super low ones because I got to be frank with you and tell you that buying a house below 400 grand in Colorado Springs right now is a challenge in general. So if you're buying in the below 3, that's probably an investment deal. We could take the time to confirm that, but for right now, I just want to bring up the ones that are pretty close to 400K and are nearby. And then we're going to take a quick look at those to make sure we're buying ourselves a deal, okay? And this just comes from the years of experience that I'm lending to you when you hire me as your coach. We can do the analysis faster. I'm going to teach you how to do the long-term analysis and really dive into this, but a lot of this comes down to speed and decision. You, as a brand new investor, are honestly obviously going to have some concerns about making a $300,000 purchase decision if you've never bought an investment before. This is what stops most people from doing their first deal. They simply don't have the gumption to pull the trigger on their own. And don't feel bad about that. I started in the exact same spot. Had I not gotten coaching to get me where I am today, I would not be broadcasting this show. But what it really took was me getting the same hand holding that you're going to need to get started in doing your first deal. Let's get back to it. Okay. So we hop in here. We've done a quick comp analysis, and my favorite comp on this property, and we're only going to do, we may do a couple, but I really want you to see the favorite. Okay. Is 0.36 miles away. It's sold on Garland. Very similarly, it's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,000 square feet above grade. Okay. $395,000 sale price. We can load the additional details to get some more info on the property. It has a carport just like our property. Okay. And what I'm hoping for is that we get some photos so we can see the inside, but no such luck here. So we're going to load another window. Real quick, I'm going to bring up the property on Garland because I want you to see what this one's going to look, what's supposed to look like in order for it to sell at the number that we need to sell it at. So let's bring up Garland Terrace in another window. I'm going to change windows on us here. Here we go. Okay, here we are. So we bring up the Zillow listing on Garland Terrace, and this was a remodel. The square footage is within 100 square feet of our property. It has no official garage, just a carport, just like our property. And in July, when rates had already gone up to really high numbers, it sold for $395,000. Why did that happen? Well, they combined buying the property correctly with proper interior design, which is a big element of what we're doing right now in this program. One of the reasons I bought a flooring store is because I now have access to the best in class flooring for my clients at the lowest possible price. This is one of the cool benefits to being married to an interior designer. But today we're now doing digital renderings on the property to give us an idea on what it needs to look like before we start the remodel. Check out the paint job, the grays and the whites. That's what we're putting in everything. The nice island and bar stool, etc. Okay, we need to really get a feel for what's moving in this market right now, because the mindset when things are slow is that nothing is selling, but that nothing could be further from the truth. What the actuality is things are selling. It's just that only the really nice properties are selling in this market because the dilapidated properties that need work or even updating. Nobody wants to buy a dilapidated property at 7-8% and then have to sink 40-50 grand into it, right? So this is where the investors are going to make the most money. This property, the work has already been done, obviously. They did a wonderful job of it. This is what I call owner-occupied retail, but what a bang-up job they did on this remodel. I would have thought this was staged because it was done so well, okay? And the property sold for $395,000. So we hop back over to our property to go back to the analysis here because we have to finalize this a little bit. And sorry, bouncing around a lot here. So we're going to hop back in, share the screen, head back to the analysis in deal check. And you can see here that we're buying the property for right now it's listed at $285. Okay, I think we can get it a little bit lower because it's a HUD repo. So I need you to keep up with me on the numbers a little bit here. But if we spend $285 and we put $50,000 into it, and I think that's very high. This property is not in terrible shape by any means. Okay, but let's go worst case scenario. We spend $285,000. We can actually create this in the property. So we got a purchase price. We're going to throw this in it. You know what? Let's leave the list price, okay? Because after I do add a little bit of a fee to the properties I find for my clients, so let's assume we get it for $285. We're gonna also assume we're selling it for $395 because an identical property in the neighborhood just sold for that. I think we can get the rehab done. Right? Purchase cost, it always adds a lot on that. I'm going to lower that there. Rehab costs, we're going to say, and I want to itemize it because a lot of times people are like, well, where do you come up with these numbers for the rehab? Well, a lot of it is just experience. Over the years, I've looked at a lot of properties. The roof on this property looks okay, but let's assume it needs some repairs, not a replacement, and put in about $3,000. Okay. Exterior siding, about $2,000 just to kind of repair it out. I don't like the exterior paint. We can get it painted for $4,000. okay? Windows are not necessary. This has vinyl windows in it. We're good. We're not going to landscape during the winter, so we don't have any landscaping budget to worry about. Interior paint, I have a painter who's on my team that will paint the house depending on the square footage from 3,000 on the low end to 4,500 on the high end below 2,000 square feet. This one's going to be on the high end, so we're going to go 4,500. Flooring is not in bad shape, but we're replacing it anyway. And I own a flooring store, so I'm going to give you a great deal on that. So 5,000 there. The kitchen, we're going to do the cabinets. We're going to do the countertops. We're going to put appliances in it. All said and done, probably $7,500, right? 2 bathrooms. Each bathroom, we can budget 3,000 to 4,000. So we're going to put let's go $8,000, right? Electrical, we're going to assume is okay, except for some repairs. Plumbing, same thing. Appliances, I built into the kitchen allowance, so we're not going to put that in there. And then HVAC always needs something, $1,000, right? Okay, so if we go through here, you know what? Let's go high side. Let's put another 2,500 in and give us a lot of room on that kitchen. So we're going to spend 10 grand total on the kitchen, which is a bit much for a kitchen at this size. But again, we want to aim high. We come up with a $40,000 remodel. Okay, so if we buy the property for $285 and we spend $40,000 on the remodel, the total profit on this deal after 3 months, and I want you to keep in mind, I put in all worst case scenario numbers. Okay, we assume the absolute worst case on everything came in at $30,000 in profit on the deal. Okay, these are not theoretical numbers. This is not based on hope. If anything, I'm being hyper conservative with the thought that if we're happy making 25 to 30K on the deal, if we end up spending a little bit less on the remodel, maybe you do some of the work yourself to cut down on that. Okay, maybe we end up selling it for $400 instead of $395 because there's nothing on the market that looks this nice at this price range. We've got a couple of ways we can shave on that, but if we go worst case scenario and make 30 grand on the deal, imagine if we make 35, 40, 50 grand on the deal by taking some of those worst case scenario variables out of it. Okay. The bottom line, guys, is there are deals on the market. This is literally on the market right now. You could be doing this deal over the winter, getting ready to sell it early in the year and pocketing actual profit on this deal. The only thing stopping you is the belief systems that have prevented you from doing a deal thus far. Okay, and I can help you through that. Again, I really appreciate all of you. There's so many people tuned in. I know it's Thanksgiving. You're at home with your family, so I really appreciate all of you showing up for the show. It means a lot to me. But guys, the takeaway here is interest rates are now starting to decline, as we all expected it had to happen at some point. I don't know if it's going to stick, but I do know there's a ton of political pressure to make sure that the real estate market does not collapse in the months to come. This is pay dirt for investors. If we have opportunities and we have a ton of deals out there right now, and you combine that with more buying power from buyers who have pent up the demand for the last few months, you can now do a deal at extreme profits right now. You just got to be able to make the move. If you'd like to get started, reach out to me. I know it's Thanksgiving, but slide in my DMs. I would love to chat with you about it. Let's set up a time to chat next week. It's usually a 30 to 45 minute discussion where we're going to determine whether real estate investment coaching in the foreclosure space is the right fit for you. If the answer is no, if you don't have the finance to do it, if you don't feel like you're in the right spot to do it mentally right now, I'll let you know. I only want clients in my program who will get success, but I am confident that I'm going to be able to get 50 people right here in this local market to 4 deals per year, making $25,000 average per deal, and one of those people could certainly be you. That's our show for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in on a holiday. It means the world to me. I appreciate it. And also for all of you who, my birthday was yesterday. I like birthdays, right? But that realization you're getting older kind of kicks my butt. So I turned 46 yesterday, so super excited about that. Overwhelmed by the amount of people who reached out and said happy birthday. Thank you guys so much for that. It meant the world to me. We got a lot happening in the real estate market right now, so please stay tuned. Opportunities are coming, but if you want to get started in coaching, please reach out to me. Let's do a coaching session and start doing deals together. With that, this is Donny Coram, your foreclosure deals coach, thanking you yet again for tuning in every week to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast and live Q&A session, and reminding you, don't buy a house, buy a deal.